A tense moment unfolded in Congress as Keith Self pushed back against criticism over a controversial arms deal, shifting the spotlight to past decisions under Joe Biden. Framing his remarks as an effort to even the scale, Self reignited debate over the Afghanistan withdrawal, military losses.
Thank you, Chairman. I will start with my colleagues on the other side of the aisle seem to be awfully concerned about the 13 dead service members and the $65 billion that they keep quoting. I will just comment that we left under the Biden administration some $80 billion worth of equipment in Afghanistan when we left, and then we also left 13 dead at Abbey Gate, one of the most disastrous, despicable moments in U.S. military history. Just a comment to even the scale there. Now, I've been very interested in some of your comments, metrics for FMS process. Mr. Miller, I think that's an excellent idea, and the acquisition process. So, DSCA has about 35 feet, if I remember correctly, of wall space in one room dedicated to the FMS process. It shows that we required, and I'm hoping you can update some of my information, Mr. Miller. It shows that we need 19 signatures in order to approve an FMS procurement for non-ally countries. Now, I don't pretend to believe that it takes 19 signatures for us to do one job, the job that one person in Japan can do, for instance. I do believe that we are more risk averse and that bureaucrats are shielded from the ability to spread the blame amongst 19 people rather than one assuming responsibility. I also note that we had, during the Vietnam War, 51 prime contractors, defense contractors, 51. Today, we are down to 5 prime contractors. There are virtually no medium-sized contractors, because once a small contractor decides not to go through the valley of death and they get procured by one of the 5 big primes, I don't believe that's fueling innovation. It's feeding bureaucracy. And I will tell you, the 5 primes seem to be content to protect their legacy systems. Look, Ukraine is innovating in real time on the battlefield as they go. So I want to also mention that before we had an acquisition corps, but in the 16 years between 1975, when Vietnam fell, in 1991, when we took a very powerful military, which we frankly don't have today, to Desert Storm, the Army alone fielded 5 major weapon systems, the big 5 we call them, 5 major weapon systems in 16 years, and frankly, I don't think we could do that today. So my first question to you, Mr. Miller, is the bottom line question. Given the EOs and the process that we've talked about already from my colleagues, the question is, has there been significant improvement to FMS since the 2025 EO? And examples, please.
Congressman, thank you very much for your question. And I appreciate your interest in the FMS wall walk. It's also available now online, so it's available digitally as well. And I would just second what you've mentioned about making sure we're looking at our process holistically, so we're looking at all steps in it to make sure we're operating efficiently. We were very proud to contribute to both executive orders that have been cited by this committee today, because I think the practitioners who are engaged in the system know where it could be improved. And we were really excited to work with our colleagues at the White House and the State Department and Commerce Department to suggest some of those improvements, some of which were adopted, and we're really pleased by that. So I would offer, again, as I mentioned previously, the establishment of metrics has been, I think, foundational and long needed. The development, as we are, to an IT tracking system that can look end-to-end at the work that we are doing. We took the FMS—
Mr. Miller, those are generalities. Let me ask you a specific. The Harpoon missile. Saudi Arabia paid, I understand, to restart the production line, and yet, so they stand with more priority than Taiwan. Frankly, given the last couple of weeks' operation in the Middle East, there is nothing for Saudi Arabia to shoot a harpoon at anymore. So why do we have Saudi Arabia standing in line for harpoons prior to Taiwan, for instance, when Taiwan could use the Harpoon missile as a deterrent factor?
Thank you for your question. In 2023, I signed out guidance to all the implementing agencies for military sales to prioritize Taiwan above all other requirements. That remains standing guidance. So in the matter of whether there was a competition between the provision of Harpoon to Saudi Arabia or to Taiwan, Taiwan would take priority. That is also a capability they're working to provide to them. And I credit my colleagues across the Department of War and State for the number of authorities and the authorities provided by Congress to facilitate the provision of that capability to Taiwan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. To preclude any arguments over time, I yield back.
The exchange highlights how deeply divided Washington remains over accountability in national security decisions. Keith Self wasn't just making a passing remark, he was deliberately reframing the conversation, shifting focus from current criticisms to past actions under Joe Biden. It's a strategy that resonates with supporters who feel key events, like the Afghanistan withdrawal, are being selectively remembered. Loss of service members and the equipment left behind, Self tapped into one of the most emotionally charged foreign policy decisions in recent history. These references aren't just facts, they're symbols used by both sides to either assign blame or defend policy choices. That's why exchanges like this quickly go beyond policy and into political identity. But the hearing also revealed something else. The growth in defense and foreign military sales, Self's critique of a system requiring multiple approvals and signatures reflects a long-standing concern that the U.S. moves too slowly in a rapidly changing global landscape. In contrast, adversaries and even allies are often seen as more agile, especially in conflict-driven innovation like what's been observed in Ukraine. Another layer of complexity. It underscores the difficult balancing act the U.S. faces in maintaining global partnerships while responding to evolving security threats. Decisions about who gets what and when aren't just logistical, they're deeply strategic and politically sensitive, often revealing underlying foreign policy priorities. Ultimately, this moment wasn't just about evening the scale. In Washington, every policy debate is also a messaging battle. Whether viewers see Self's comments as a necessary correction or a political deflection largely depends on where they stand, but either way, the exchange reflects the high stakes and sharp divisions shaping today's national security discourse.